versus Jose Zepeda. I just want to break it down a little bit for you guys so you guys can understand at least what this fight is going to be about. What are the kinds of styles we're dealing with? What are the kinds of fighters we're dealing with? And it's going to be very quick. Like I promised you guys, I would do a breakdown. Do it right now. You guys can correspond with me in the chat. Try to put the PayPal link up in there if you guys want to donate via PayPal. Okay. Like I said before, it's going to be a short discussion on it. So let's get into it. Both guys are southpaws. So it's a southpaw versus southpaw. The last fighter both guys have had was a southpaw. Thing about it is, Zepeda faced up and coming, fast rising superstar boxer, a young fighter from I believe it was Puerto Rico, and he disposed of him in the first round. He caught him with a jab, jab straight left. The reason it happened was because he was baiting him with the jab, baiting him with the jab. So the guy decided to throw a combination, a counter off of the jab, and the rhythm which he came with the jab left hand really quickly, caught him as he was trying to throw. The guy was slightly reached in, and that stunned him, and it was all she wrote because after that he just crashed him. Ruggaru stuff, which was a little bit more gritty. He put down his opponent in the second round with a beautiful overhand left. Caught him flush on the jaw, put him down. The guy was sturdy and strong, so he made it all the way up to the sixth round, where the fight had to be stopped. I believe it was on a cut or something like that. But both guys are just explosive. Both guys are very exciting. Zepeda, um, it's um, it's an excellent fight to see because um, you're talking about two of the best 140 pounders right now in the 140 pound division. Zepeda, this is going to be his third attempt at the title. The first time he had a shot at the title was at lightweight against a guy that actually Regis Prograis beat. Trying to remember the guy's name right now. He's UK fighter from London. He became the lightweight world champion. That guy, they were fighting for the vacant lightweight title. And then Jose Cepeda again faced Jose Ramirez, and in a very spirited fight. But Ramirez was throwing a lot more punches. He was the aggressor. Wasn't landing as much, because again, Cepeda is more of a sharpshooter type. But still, at the end of the day, uh, Ramirez got the decision because he was catching. Besides being aggressive and throwing a lot of punches, he was also landing some punches also on Zepeda. It was a close fight. Even though Ramirez won by majority decision, Zepeda did his good job in just staying in the fight and making it very competitive. He's very sharp with his shots. Now, early in Zepeda's career, he had gotten stopped. He got stopped by the same guy for the vacant lightweight title. That was because he was more of a boxer kind of guy. Now he can box, he can trade. He's still very intelligent in how he fights. More of a sharpshooter. Again, like Regis Prograis, more of a sharpshooter. Can work the body and the head, but he mostly throws straight lefts to the head. Prograis is kind of the same, except Prograis can fight on the inside. He's really a good inside fighter. Zepeda more fights from a distance, from range. He has a longer reach. He has like a 70 and a half inch reach. Zepeda more fights on the outside, but he has really good sense of distance and how to place his shots. It's very accurate. When you watch him against Ivan Baranchak, who's a very strong fighter, you see just how accurate he can be. He puts his punches together beautifully. So Zepeda, has gone through the fire. He has faced some really good fighters and beaten them, and world champions. And he's lost to some. I think he lost, was it 3 times or something like that? He got stopped about 3 times or something like that. But or lost 3 times, got stopped once or something like that. Regis Prograis only lost once in his career. Again, very close fight, split decision. Lost to Josh Taylor. Some argue he won, but he did take unnecessary punishment. He has tightened up his defense some. Very sharp, explosive fighter. So both guys are very sharp, very explosive. Zepeda has fought his share of guys that helped him to move to the next level. So he's very seasoned. He's gotten stronger as well, and he also, has got good power. Very accurate fighter. Very, very good timing. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's got good timing. Regis Broker, the same thing. But both guys are very sharp. Both guys are not really volume punchers. They can put their punches together, but they're not really volume punchers. The difference is Regis Prograis attacks the body. He can close the distance and attack the body. He slips shots and he gets to the inside and he attacks the body. And we saw that against Josh Taylor. We saw that against several other fighters. You know, and Zepeda doesn't necessarily infight. He doesn't try to attack the body all the time. Most tries to fight from a distance. He really is good at finding his range against a fighter and then really starting to throw punches. Both guys kind of arc their punches. Zepeda, when he's throwing his check hooks and stuff, sometimes he throws it from way outside, so he kind of wings the shot. It's more of an arced shot. But Zepeda is the guy that actually throws the straighter shots of the two of the guys. Prograis, both guys work off their jab. But Prograis tends to arc his shots a lot more, loop his shots a lot more. Even though Prograis tends to throw shorter, more chopping shots, so he shortened up his shots and throw shots on the inside. If you watch it, Baranchek versus Zepeda, Baranchek was throwing those short chopping shots that would catch Zepeda and put him down or stun him. And that's something Zepeda is going to have to look out for. He's going to have to keep the fight long because he loops his shots from the outside. He doesn't, like, his hooks and stuff are very wide, but well timed. He times very well, so he knows his distance, where to throw them. But sometimes he can throw, and you could be inside of the arc of the shot. You slide to the inside of the shot. If you slide in to Zepeda, you kind of smother him for room, he doesn't really get his shots off as well. But he can shorten up his shots too, and he can throw beautiful little uppercuts on the inside or little body shots on the inside, and he does place his shots very, very well. He's very accurate. His defense of late, because he's been going for the gusto so much, his defense of late hasn't been as sharp, and he has good defense. Now, let me, if I got to do breakdown, y'all, this is a short breakdown, but I'm trying to cover as much as I can, right? So Zepeda uses the high guard, he uses the shoulder roll, he also uses his feet. His feet are actually, between the two of them, Zepeda has actually more athletic, quicker feet than Regis Prograis. What I mean by that is Regis Prograis tends to plant as he moves. He doesn't, I was talking to you guys, whatever day it was, about Canelo, and I was talking about somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Ryan Garcia. I was talking about Ryan Garcia, and I was comparing him to Devin Haney. And I was talking about the feet. And in this breakdown, I'm going to tell you all a little bit about feet, okay? So some guys, they're always not only on the ball of their toes, but they're always shifting their body weight from front foot to back foot, and they do it really rapidly. Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones Jr., Devin Haney. These guys, they shift their weight. Manny Pacquiao, they shift their weight from one foot to the next really, really rapidly. And if you watch it them, even when they seem to be standing in front of you, they're actually shifting their weight back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all the time. And that's what we call active feet. Dimitri Bivol does the same thing. These guys, they're always ready to move their body, even if it's a fraction of a distance, or just changing angle just slightly. They're always ready to move. Those feet are always ready to move. Now, sometimes they stay flat-footed for a little bit, but they always get back up on their toes, and they shift the weight from either foot. And that's something very, very special. Ryan Garcia does not do that. Gervonta Tank Davis sometimes does it. Sometimes he doesn't. All right? You find that power punchers tend to be flat-footed. Well, Jose Zepeda, while he doesn't shift his weight from front to back like that, he has, I think, the more conditioned feet. Regis Prograis comes in. Regis Prograis has very quick reaction time, very good upper body movement. But like Canelo, he kind of stays flat-footed a little bit more. He doesn't shift his weight all the time from one foot to the next. And this is something very important in boxing, because once your feet are ready to move, they're ready to change position all the time, and they're very active all the time, and you keep them moving. You have you always have the ability to get into position much faster than your opponent can, because it's all about footwork. Your feet are always active. They're always ready. They're always warmed up. Whereas guys, and I'm not talking about big set of footsteps. I'm talking about small little inching footsteps. They're just changing the angle just slightly. They're not directly in front of you. They're constantly shifting angles all the time because the feet constantly are moving. And that's something Devin Haney does. Ryan Garcia doesn't do that. Okay, and Ryan Garcia is much more stiff. He's not as fluent as Devin Haney. Devin Haney, because you have active feet, you can throw more feints, body feints, head feints, shoulder feints, eye feints. You know, upper body feints with the waist. You can throw a lot of feints with that, and so it keeps your opponent off balance all the time because you're always moving, even if it's slightly, it's just slight little increments of movement. You're always moving, and when you alternate that movement with the feet, with the upper body, and then your upper body's in a different plane to your lower body, and then sometimes you stop the foot movement and you continue the movement with the upper body and all of that, it really throws your opponent off because there's so many different feints. They just can't find a beat on your rhythm. They can't find a beat on your timing, and so that special attribute. Zepeda doesn't have that, but he has a lot more active feet than does Reggie Prograis. So this is something that, again, Zepeda has the ability to get in a position, I think, or change range, come in, and that's how he controls range, by the way. Get in and out of range much quicker than Reggie Prograis. Now, Reggie Prograis is very explosive and everything, but he tends to sit down more on his punches because I think Reggie Prograis is probably the bigger hitter of the two of them, not because of his knockouts, but just because of how the mechanics of how he punches, and how solid he is. I think Regis Prograis has never been dropped ever in a boxing ring, and so that tells you he's just physically strong. I think he's stronger than Zepeda, but it doesn't really matter. Strength doesn't really matter in a boxing ring. It's the skills. Both guys have good skills. Both guys are very, very solid fighters. Um, Regis Prograis, I would tend to think uh, um, it hits harder, probably. I can't really tell, but he looks that way. He looks stronger of the two. I can tell you this: he looks stronger of the two. He's the shorter of the two, and he also has a shorter reach of the two. So he had to close the distance to get where he needs to go, or cut angles so that he can get where he needs to go. With Zepeda, he's the longer of the two. Uh, he's not much slimmer than Reggie's Prograis. He probably may be the heavier guy in the ring on the night, but Reggie's just built so solidly and so compact. Reggie's Prograis is built compactly, and he throws his shots. When he's not looping them, he throws them very compactly. And even when he's looping them, he throws them with tremendous power. You can tell that this guy is just strong, physically strong. And but Zepeda's had that experience with Ivan Barancek. Barancek was just ridiculously strong. The difference is Barancek was more reckless coming in on his opponent, throwing a lot of punches. Regis Prograis will not be as reckless. He's much more defensively responsible. And Zepeda is also comes from that ilk, but he makes mistakes. He cannot afford to get hit by Regis Prograis, like how he was hit by Ivan Barancek. So he should have corrected his errors. He's improving as a fighter, fight after fight after fight. So I expect him to take risks, take chances, but to still, have his guard up and stuff. And he's open for that right hand. That right hand, he gets caught with that right hand a little too often. You just can't afford to do that because in a fight with Regis Prograis, Prograis had never been dropped. So if Prograis drops him a couple times, that's where Prograis could win the fight. Um, and Prograis not really, like I said before, he's not a volume puncher, so it's not like Ivan Barancek going in there, but he's very explosive, just like Zepeda is very explosive. So when I look at both fighters, that's why I said it's like a 50-50 fight. The guys, their defense is not airtight, so that they can get hit. Prograis does get hit, even though in the most recent of fights I've seen Prograis in, he hasn't been hit as much by opponent. But if because Zepeda puts his punches together, I expect him to hit Prograis, but not with the money punches. And similarly with Prograis for Zepeda, because Zepeda has decent defense. Zepeda doesn't use the high guard that much. He uses more of a shoulder roll. So when he's kind of like pivoting out the way, he tries to roll the punch and snap back. Prograis does the same thing. He kind of snaps back sometimes, not with any roll or anything. He just kind of snaps his body back. Prograis can come up off the high guard. He uses the high guard sometimes to block most of his punches. So I think of the two, Prograis has actually, I think, the tighter defense, but we will see. Um, but Zepeda has that foot. He has that foot movement on Prograis. I think not so much foot speed, but the foot movement, the foot activity keeping that foot activity. That's the thing that Canelo need to have to keep up with Bevo. Because if you don't have that foot activity, you're not gonna beat Bevo. Bevo's always in position, and that's the key with Bevo versus Canelo. And that's why people talking about a rematch with Canelo, maybe at 168, whatever. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. Bevo's feet will always get him in the position, favorable position on Canelo. He always have a favorable position on Canelo, and it's all about positioning. And Bevo's a very accurate fighter. He's a little sloppy, but he's an accurate fighter. So he always gonna be in position to land something and also to get out of the way of something. So that is an advantage that Zepeda has over Prograis, I think. But Prograis, okay. So what's the game plan? So Prograis needs to cut the distance and get on the inside. This is where Zepeda is most vulnerable. He has to do most of his work, body work mostly, and Prograis doesn't do a lot of enough body work, and he is very good at punching into the body. But he needs to get to the inside and work the body of Zepeda to break him down as the rounds go along. But Zepeda needs to keep the fight longer, just like how he used to do. He find his range, and then he deal with corners. Both guys are seasoned vets. Both guys are very experienced. The only difference is like Strawberry has championship experience. So that's vital. Zepeda, this is his third shot at it with Prograis. The second time for a bigger title. And you know, it's third time the charm, so we'll see. I mean, it's not just about grit. You have to have to be very smart. They're two very smart fighters who want to fight each other. It's not going to be a barn burner getting. It's not going to be guys throwing plus punches. These guys will be boxing. Both are boxing punches. I do think the Prograis may be the aggressive one. Canelo's fight with the background. I don't really understand the background. So Prograis may be the guy who can get out of the Zepeda. If you cut off the ring, close the distance of Zepeda, you can make the fight to his advantage. Do I think that he can knock out Zepeda? No. Because I think Zepeda's something else. Even though he got knocked out by a guy that Prograis never beat, the guy who made like the championship of the world. He stopped Zepeda. I think that was something that happened because Zepeda wasn't strong enough at the time, and he was still learning the boxing. But Zepeda is a powerful boxer still. So I don't expect him to knock out, but what I do expect is maybe a knockout, maybe a knockout choke. Uh, whether Zepeda can knock out Prograis, I don't know. So I think Prograis may get the knockout, and that might be the most fight before, and maybe Zepeda tussles a little bit before, but how Prograis puts the shots, they put shots together and actually, just edge out rounds, edge out each round. It may be knocking down Prograis, but edge down rounds on Prograis, boxing Prograis in, and putting the heat on him coming down the stretch, and see what happens. Prograis is a very game fighter, very strong fighter, and so and he has an answer for something, but he'll be that intimidating to a lot of people because he's still going to be in the majority of the system if he's boxing again. He does have the power to put down Prograis. Don't get me wrong. I think he can. You know he's going to. He starts getting good. He's going to. And after he puts his Brazilian game, he's going to do it. He's going to take his since he was a middleweight already, he was fighting some good middleweight guys. So he's going to let it go. Both guys are very dangerous. Zepeda is not. I wouldn't say Zepeda's on Prograis level in terms of achievements. Prograis, multiple world champion, unified world champion, and this is a lightweight. Prograis is kind of put on the back burner for a while, so he's getting the opportunity now to get the title. And I think he's very happy to get it. Um, very, very good fighter, very solid fighter. But Zepeda's a guy that's a little bit hardy at the same time. And even though he hasn't beaten too many of the big names in there, Ramirez got the nod on him. The other guy, he got the nod on him. But he stopped him actually. This is his third time, and he's fighting a really, really, really good fighter who's very confident as well. But don't get it twisted. Jose Cepeda can pull it off. He definitely can pull it off. As much as people may favor Prograis in this fight over Cepeda, I gotta say, some people wouldn't because Prograis is a hardy guy himself. But that doesn't mean. Remember, like I said before, the key to this fight, one guy got much more accurate than the other. So this fight fight, he could definitely win it. That's why I said this fight is a 50-50 fight. When I think about it more, certain things favor Prograis, certain things favor Zepeda, but it always going to come down to the feet. If Zepeda do what he's supposed to do, he could get the decision on Prograis. Prograis is the harder puncher, but it's not like Zepeda hadn't been in there with harder punchers. You know what I mean? He's been in there with Ramirez. He's been in there with Ivan Baranchek. He's been in there with the English dude. You know, he has been put down though because he makes mistakes, and some of them is he trying to throw that check hook. He throws that check hook from way out there, and because he's kind of long with long arms and stuff like that, he gets caught with a counter. He might get caught with like a right counter. He may get caught with something else. So that's the problem with. But Prograde would have to be looking for that counter in there. Um, but I'm sure both the guys are very much aware of that. But the fight, I think, is going to be one for Prograde once he can close the distance on Zepeda. They're going to have some trades. We'll see who gets the last say, who keeps his defense tighter. It's about who keeps their defense tighter. It's about also, like I said, foot activity. Uh, if Zepeda can, because I think he has the more agile feet, even though Prograis is very explosive, I think Prograis, because he's so flat-footed when he's fighting, to get more leverage in his punches. Not to say that Prograis is a flat-footed fighter, but because he stays so flat-footed to get his torque and his momentum into his punches, I think he could be a step behind Zepeda if Zepeda can control the distance and stuff. So that's why I said Zepeda could pull this off, as well as Prograis. Who he's got the power. He's got better. I think he has better defense. Um, I think Prograis needs to be a little bit more active on the inside, so he has to try to cut off the ring on Zepeda, and then he has to try to be a little bit more active when he's coming in with Zepeda. So if you ask me who I favor in this fight, it's a tricky one. It's really tricky because I have to actually see the fight to really definitively tell you who I have the favor. Of course, some people will say, well, Prograis, this is a general thing. Prograis got more championship experience, so you favor Prograis because he's been there, done that. So, but it depends on how hungry he is. Of course, he wants to get back. Cepeda will be super hungry for this opportunity. This is his third try at the title. He's a very good fighter. He's proven that he's improved significantly with the last set of opposition he's had. He loves challenges. He's seasoned now. He's a veteran of the sport. This may be his time, and it's going to be in his territory. It's going to be where people favor him. Prograis is going to be the underdog. So it's possible. There's many different scenarios that could play out here, but one of the scenarios that could play out is Prograis could win the fight again. It could be a close fight, and Zepeda get denied. It could have gone either way. Prograis Zepeda, and they gave Zepeda the nod. It can happen. So, but this is a very good fight. Um, Very, very good fight. Both guys, I'm sure, trained their butts off. Um, and if it's Zepeda's time, it's Zepeda's time. We gonna see. Of course, the momentum's with Zepeda. The momentum's with Prograis as well. Prograis is an excellent fighter, so if Zepeda was to beat Prograis, that would be a huge step up for Zepeda and put him in a really nice position. Whereas if Prograis was to beat Zepeda, that's an excellent opponent. He never was a world champion, but an excellent opponent, and it put Prograis in a very good position. So either way how you look at it, it's incredible. And the fact that the WBC actually allowed Prograis to go up against Zepeda, because Zepeda is a damn good fighter. Period. Ramirez is a good fighter too, and Zepeda versus Ramirez two would have been nice, but Ramirez already beat Zepeda and already faced Zepeda. Why doesn't Zepeda face somebody else? And it just so happened that Ramirez, he kind of got ill or whatever. So this works out for Prograis to get his title shot finally after so many years. So it's gonna be an interesting fight. Both guys will want it, and we'll see who comes out triumphant in the end. Yeah. So that's what I got for you guys. I'm what you need. This wasn't as short as you think. Um. So who do I favor? I can't tell you, man. I really have to see the fight. It's one of those fights where, I mean, both guys are gonna put it on the line. The game plan for Prograis is more to keep closer to Zepeda so he can land more body shots, his short chopping shots. I think it's gonna be the most effective thing for him in this fight. For Zepeda, is trying to keep it as long as possible, use his time and his distance, and I push Prograis back because once Prograis is more on the back foot, it'll work in his favor. Even though Prograis was looking to counter him, versus Prograis coming forward. So that's basically it. Um, I really can't tell you who's gonna win this one. This one's a 50-50 fight as well. I've been looking at it for a while and I still can't tell you. So I'm just gonna go watch it, and certain things favor Prograis. Of course, he's gonna be probably the favorite in this fight because he became world champion before, been down this road before. He's hungry. He hasn't had an opportunity to have these kind of fight. He's chomping at the bit for this opportunity. So there's that, and then he's never been stopped. He's never been dropped. So, and he's very strong. So it does favor him in that respect. But it's Zepeda could outbox him. I'm telling you, he's got the footwork to do it. But the question is, will he do it? Um, and when I say outbox him, I'm talking about banging and everything, mixing it up completely. But it's not about fighting the perfect fight, but it's about not making those mistakes. Tony Harrison, he used to make mistakes, and that's why Jamel Charlo was able to beat him the second time. It was a mistake on his part, and he was bullying Charlo and everything. You know, so the question is, can Zepeda tighten up his defense and not make as many mistakes as he did against Baranchek? You know, and we'll see. I don't know. So he could pull it off too. Mm. But I understand Prograis being the favorite. But this is gonna be a good fight. These are two really good fighters, so we'll see. What you need, I'm not gonna predict a winner on this one. I understand people leaning towards Prograis, but I understand also Zepeda could take this. So I'm not gonna make a prediction as to who will win. I'm just giving you guys a breakdown so you guys would respect uh, what these guys bring to the table. All right, I'm gonna catch you guys later. I'm what you need. Peace.